can give the chance to those who are not online. So to then see what we have been discussing about. This is the last and final webinar, and the last week is ongoing, and there are a couple of activities already going on, and I will also, we have to update the online or the final questionnaire, the evaluation questionnaire still, so that all the participants can fill in that in the end of the course. But quite a long, like not long, but full of activities and different kind of as content and getting to know new things during the last 5 years for all participants. And it's been great to read and see how the projects have been developing from phase to phase and step by step. And hopefully we can hear today then a bit about Faye and Diana, about your projects and how you see the process and the results. But Ariel, do you have something that you want to say before we give the floor to the participants?
I've just really enjoyed reading about all of your projects and ideas, and I really noticed a lot of similarity, and that's why I think it's really nice to run a course where everybody works within the same area, because actually what I read in a lot of your reflections was that part of what you were getting from it was learning from each other. And I think that was really great to hear. But yeah, I think everybody just completed some really excellent projects, and it's a very short time frame. And so actually, I know that actually at the beginning, it seemed that people were really staying on top of it more. But I think my sort of understanding of it from being a facilitator is these last few weeks have been a bit more of a challenge to get through things. So it'll be really good to hear your sort of feedback on that, as well as from others. But yeah, on the whole, just very much enjoyed reading about so many different projects and actually seeing how, I think by week 3, I think it was week 3 when we're asking you to define the area to focus on through using user needs statements and how might we statements. And I really enjoyed reading those because it made me realize that you got it. Because when I read a user needs statement that is really accurate and really well done, and how might we statements, I can sort of really see that the learning is taking place, that now these methodologies are being sort of picked up and used. So yeah, really pleased from a facilitator's point of view about how it's gone.
Yes, great. And as you said, Ariel, so it has been a great chance to also to, I would say myself, also to learn a bit new things, also as a facilitator during the, of course, from your projects, but also I would say that service design is always a learning process. So each time, even you are familiar with it and you know it, so each time you learn new things. Welcome, Bettina. Nice
Sorry
to
for
have
being
you.
late.
Don't worry, we just started. But the idea was to give floor to you all participants so that you could briefly present your projects, how like in what were the solutions to your problems which you started to work with, and and we are not expecting to have any sparkling presentations or any special things, but if you have, so that's of course possible that you can present those. But we would like to hear, like, what was the starting point, and how do you think that it progressed, and what's the final result that you have reached, or the situation that you have, the phase that you have reached this far. So you have, Bettina, someone behind you who was watching through the window. But the person went. we can wave from here. Okay, but is there, Faye, Diana, or Bettina, anyone of you who would like to start?
I can start if you'd like.
Great.
I wrote a couple things down because I tend to go all over the place. So my focus was online youth information service, and eventually I went to Instagram, so reaching young people through Instagram. Can you hear me okay? Because I'm using my phone. Okay, so basically, just to give a project outline, the challenge was reaching young people who we do not have access to through our ongoing projects. And then I looked at possible solutions. So the possible solutions to me were working with young people directly to see what would attract them to our service or what they need. And then this led me to Instagram, so posts, stories, and reels. And so, as I said, the challenge was reaching out to young people we do not have access to. This may be a result of multiple things. Most young people I speak to, they tend to think that we work with vulnerable young people only, not young people in general. Also, that we're not on common platforms, and young people might prefer peer learning and individual searching rather than going to a service. Also, the pandemic doesn't help because there are less spaces where we can connect with young people. Then there's the question, I don't know if you saw it, it was on the learning portal. Basically, the question was, how can we make our services more accessible, visible, and attractive to reach more young people from different backgrounds and different communities? Okay. So when I reached out to young people in the phase of the research, and they said that their preferred platforms were Instagram, WhatsApp, and YouTube, which was what led me to choose Instagram. They said that the content should be light-hearted, open-minded, and relatable, and they also suggested that we collaborate with other NGOs or young people or groups to share not our service per se, but collaborating with them so that we are present and them becoming aware of us through indirectly, sort of. So then I ran a mini pilot with a group of young people I had access to who didn't know about the service, and I created a post about climate change and a reel with a recipe because they suggested some topics to me, and I tried creating sort of content depending on these issues. And then they gave me feedback. And the feedback was that basically the same as they suggested before, and that the language needs to be easy to understand, short sentences, which didn't come to my mind because when I think of information posts, I think of detail, which funnily enough, they suggested that there needs to be more detail, but in shorter sentences. But the aesthetic overall they liked. I don't know if I can send you the posts later on. Maybe you can see what aesthetic I'm speaking about. That's basically it from my end.
Great. It sounds like you found a challenge and a thing that your organization really had you could use and it helped you to tackle a specific problem. If you have Diana, Bettina, or Ariel, if you have any questions, so please go on. But I would like to ask you, Faye, like, was there anything that surprised you during the process when you were working with this challenging reaching out to young people? So when you started to communicate with young people and yeah, were there something that really surprised you?
I think that rather than being surprised, I had a lot of realizations, which might be obvious once you say them out loud. For example, asking the young people what they actually want to see on Instagram rather than, oh, climate change is a good idea, let's speak about that. Like, okay, first step, what do the young people actually need information about? Sort of avoiding that top-down approach that I think as many information services we need to avoid, since we're providing information for them, not indoctrinating them. I think that's what struck me the most throughout the process.
And it's a very important point, like to provide information on things or topics or errands that are young people needs information about. So that's great. What about you others? Do you have anything that you would like to hear from Faye? Bettina.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, did you ask, like when you asked them what they want to see on social media, etc., did you ask young people that actually know your services and come there regularly, or how did you, or who did you ask?
So this was part of the process I had to think about a lot, because I wanted young people who did not know about the service, since that's the challenge. Basically, I go skating on a skateboard, and there's this skate park. We have a skate park, and a lot of young people go there. And we created this group chat, and it's huge. I don't know all of the people, and I just sent them a message there, and I had conversations at the skate park too. So I sort of had conversations with young people I knew, and I sent some messages through this group chat to people I didn't know. That's how I got the information.
I love it that you went to a skate park because you skate. It's like that's a great tool that you have in your youth worker toolkit, to be able to actually skate to a skate park and chat with young people. That's really cool. Yeah, I wanted to, you said that you actually produced something that went out. Is that right, on social media? I don't know if you could show us. Like, that would be really interesting to see.
Yes, of course. I think that's fine then. Can I upload them here, or how does it work? Or do I share screen?
Yeah, can you do screen sharing? Or just, I'm not sure if you can.
Let's try, because I have them in front of me. That's it. Now the reel I can't show you because it's a screenshot, but you get the idea. Okay.
Let me know if you don't have access to screen sharing, but it should be active.
Okay, can you see it?
It's just loading, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so these are the posts, not the full product, but basically, so this one is just a post, and then you slide through, and there are like 7 facts, or basically the same layout. It's just a sentence in bold, and then like a couple of sentences, small wording, explaining. And then the reel, I don't know if you're familiar with reels, because I spoke to my colleagues and they were like, what are reels? But they're basically like TikToks on Instagram. There's a page and there you have a couple of seconds of videos. So basically, if you swipe to see the description, there's the recipe, because someone suggested like vegan recipes. So I looked up this vegan brownie recipe and I put a video, short clip, and the description, there's the ingredients and the method. So basically just whatever you need to do the recipe and no blah, no extra words, kind of. What was suggested with the reels is that rather than having the finished product only, you have not a run through of the person doing the dish, but at least the ingredients one by one, kind of in their natural form before you mix everything. So like a snippet of each ingredient and then the whole product. So it's more visual rather than having the ingredients only. But that's the content.
That's great. Really cool.
Yes, and do you have, Faye, any plans to continue with other topics or with this kind of activities?
So they put me in charge of our youth information one-stop shop Instagram. And right now we're doing a campaign on the 16 days of activism, which is against gender-based violence. We're tackling that. But next, we're supposed to be tackling the Sustainable Development Goals, and then we're tackling some UN days throughout next year. But yes, small projects here and there, because we don't want to bombard them sort of with a lot of information, especially that we've only just started running it. So okay.
Great. Thanks a lot for the presentation of your project, and it seems that it was really something that you needed, or it started from that you found what is the challenge and the problem, and you could find, with help of young people and meeting young people, and with help of young people, you could find the solutions. And also one thing what was I think it was very interesting, and I think from the information need point of view, was that the young people were telling you that they assume something, that you are working only with vulnerable young people, which is quite often the case when you start to talk with youth information services or youth information workers, and when they do these different kind of questionnaires, or they try to find out or reach young people, so they find out that quite many young people have wrong, well, maybe it's a bit strong to say wrong kind of understanding about the service profile, but it's important to also to spread the message that it's not only about challenges or problems problem solving that you can get information about or advice or guidance, but also these kind of more general information topics. Okay, congratulations for your project, and congratulations also for your new responsibility area, being Instagram responsible. Great. Okay. What about Bettina or Diana? Who wants to continue?
I can continue, but unfortunately, I don't have such a complete and finished project as Sai has. Well, I started off too big, like having the focus of a similar focus as Sai, like how can we make our how can we raise awareness about all our offers? And I limited it to all our offers and services around the first job search. Like there are several dates where they can take a photo at our Youth Information Center, like for their applications, a professional picture. Then there is the offer of helping them with their application forms, going through their CV and their motivational letter and all of that stuff. And then there is the platform itself, like a website where we give the opportunity to young people as well as regional companies to find a job. Like the companies post their jobs there, summer jobs or side jobs or like internships. And especially since it's difficult for younger teenagers, like starting from 15 onwards, to find a job where they don't have any qualifications and where usually you need to know somebody, this is quite a challenge. And so I tried to focus on these three areas. How can we make them more known? And yeah, we also had the difficulty to find young people, especially now since we're in lockdown again and since no people are around and since our Instagram channel is in progress and works, but not usually very frequented by young people, mostly by multipliers. So I just asked around in our company where we have an intern, where we have two young apprentices and yes, several other people. But it's definitely a phase that could have gone into much more detail. So I came up with several possible solutions, saying that the structure of the website could be improved, especially since it's not very mobile friendly. Then we could use different channels, like different media to advertise these offers. We have a strong collaboration with the Youth Card for Salzburg, for our area, which is very well established among young people because it's connected to the public transport card. So everybody who has their public transport card also has that S-Pass app. And so we want to focus more on these media. And another, or maybe the biggest idea, is to build a team, such as, for example, Young Scott has, of young people, where we could work together more or less and always ask their opinion, their needs, their wishes, how products or services should be designed, like what they should focus on, and then also how they should be promoted, and especially since young people know what young people like and which media they are on and which everyday life situations. I think what's the English word for just spread of the word is one of the most effective ways to promote services, I guess. Yeah, and another idea was also to ask them, those teenagers who come and are actually in touch with us already, to actively invite them to spread the word to their friends, tell them if they think they could need it as well or would find it useful, and thereby hopefully increase our awareness of our services. Yeah. So I have several ideas how we could change the website and move parts around. That's the first and the smallest thing that I can actually do now. The team is up in my mind for next year, a project I wanted to start. And yeah, the inviting people to get in touch with us is something we can also do very easily. And the media also try to improve that and keep track of the data, of the statistics, and see if it's working or not. Yeah, so some outcomes, yes, but nothing that definite yet, so that I can't really say if it has worked or not. But I've learned several methods and strategies, and I'm very thankful for that. So, thank you.
Thanks, Bettina. I think that you as well, like Faye, so you have had a very kind of concrete challenge and a problem that you have started to work with. And as you said, so your project or your process is still continuing, and but I think that you are in a good stage already. Did you face this far any surprising comments or situations or comments from with the people you have been communicating about your service design project about?
Well, I also realized while doing all the research that our services are maybe not communicated clearly enough for young people, since we're mostly in this multiplier bubble or a parents bubble or a teachers bubble. So our services might not always be designed directly or advertised in a way that young people relate to it. So I haven't mentioned this, but from the forum chats, I also do keep in mind that audiovisual and short and concrete content helps to make young people interested, hopefully. And then also prototypes and test it before really going into too much effort and doing it. Yeah, but similar to Faye, also keep young people in mind, and how they should be the center, not only for the promotion, but also for the creation, and their problems should be at the center. And we mostly think too much about the other ways through multipliers and through parents were quite okay, and that's probably why we say, well, this is something they might need as well in order to help the young people in the second step. Like, we're not directly addressing young people with our offers mainly, but through a third person, like a teacher or a parent or somebody else. So this is something we should definitely work on, I think, as a youth information center, not a parents information center. Yeah.
What about you, the others? Do you have any things that you would like to ask about from Bettina and her project?
I think my question is around sort of, because I know that you said that you started really big and you realized there was a lot of things, and I could see that throughout throughout the way that you were responding to the questions, that you were trying to work out what bit to focus on. I suppose my question is, and a reflection for me as well, it really feels, Bettina, through the work you were doing, you've really getting a really good understanding of this process and how it could help. And I would like to know, I suppose, how you intend to continue maybe this process on, and, is it just you, and how will maybe you get others involved? Because I think it's quite a big thing when you have these moments of, the penny's dropped maybe, or I've learned something. What's your next step to sort of, I suppose, keep this going within your organization?
Yeah, I think you mentioned something big there, the thing of being alone a bit in the whole thing now, and the next step would definitely be getting some team member involved and really think things through, because I don't know about the others, but whenever I I am alone on a project or on a big new project, I sometimes turn around in circles if I'm just me and myself talking about the whole thing. So this might definitely help focus on the most important bits and stop me from diving too deep into details that probably don't help in the bigger picture. So some other person, some other opinion, some other brainstorming, and then saying, well, this is more important than that, and probably leave this behind. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, if no any other questions, so it's been like, as I said to Faye, so also Bettina to you, so it's been really interesting to follow the process, and as Ariel said, so it started from big and during and throughout the way, so you found the core, and that's a good point to continue work with. What about your colleagues? Have you been, how much have you been talking about, and Faye also, how much have you been talking about the service design as a process or methodology? How much have you been talking about that during this course?
I work with another, I don't know, you know Sarah. I work with Sarah, and so I've been, whatever I learned throughout the course, I've been sort of relaying it to her, but also my manager and other colleagues, because we do post quite a lot of stuff on Instagram and other social media platforms, so I think it's important for them to know as well what I learned throughout this process. I think it has become like a daily thing. Like if we put up a post, I go to them and discuss it. So not a daily thing, but whenever we post something.
That's cool. I haven't really talked about a lot of the whole project to anybody, because we're currently back to remote working, and we're not discussing, like, time is limited, let's say it like that, unfortunately.
Okay, but that's also a good point to at some point to go through the process and involve your colleagues and discuss, and also to see how about the other things and services and ways you are working, so how you could maybe develop them through this kind of methodology. All right, what about Diana? How is your project? You have been working with your colleague a lot, so together, so you have been actually two persons involved in the same project, but what would you like to tell about your project?
Yeah, I can do a summary. I mean, I have not prepared this, so bear with me. But I'll share. So I'll give you an insight. So can you see my screen? Yeah. So we really took over. So our colleagues' project design project, because they did the course before us. So we just, carry on that type of work. So the thing they did is we have the MIC helpline. So this is the information, advice, and advocacy helpline for children and young people in Wales. MIC has three main ways that you can contact the advisors for help. So you have the online chat, you have the free phone, and you have the text. Very innovative because it's already, giving them a lot of ways to contact. So as the phone and the text is quite easy to use, and everybody can use with the, you know, the young people can use the mobile phones. With the chat, it's a bit more complicated, because for the chat, we are using like a service provider that made it in a specific way. So to access the chat, you need to go to Mike, go to this page, which is the Get Help, and here click on the online chat. So as you can see, then opens this, can you see the second box? No? Okay, hold on. I'll share it in a different way. Sometimes when you share differently. Okay, I need to share and you can see yourself as well. Okay, can you see it right now, yeah? So when you click here on the online chat, this is the box that appears. So this box is not used, so it's not very accessible through the mobile phones. It's not displaying correctly. Yeah, it's just not really user friendly. Plus all the ways you need to go to actually go to the chat. So my previous colleagues, what they did is try to get the platform. As you can see, there is a link here on the top. It's a call handling, the service they are providing this. So they wanted this link to be able to put it in Instagram, Facebook, you know, all the places the young people are, to be able to send this link. But actually, it does not work. It's just the way the system is. So we said, okay, that's what so far my friends, my colleagues went. So we said, okay, definitely that's not the solution then. Let's explore other solutions. So we know young people use this mobile phone a lot. And we knew from the user research and everything that, you know, the platforms they mostly use is WhatsApp, Messenger, you know, chats in gaming rooms. So everything that is really already there. So we said, okay, let's have a look at WhatsApp, let's have a look at Messenger, let's have a look at Instagram. So we discovered this. Can you see my other screen, right? This is all discovering. So through Facebook, because now Facebook is connected to Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, you have like a center where you are receiving all the messages. So for example, if someone texts you in Instagram, you will be able to see it here. Don't worry, I've checked. This is us doing the test. There is nothing, you know, you can read it, what's occurring, and that was me. It's just funny things when we were testing it. So at the moment, there is not WhatsApp, but actually, Facebook is telling us that WhatsApp is gonna be here incorporated very soon. That's our findings, you know, try to find a better way to link to the chat. So I'm gonna show you a little bit, just in case you wanna use it too. So here is all the messages, but here if you go underneath, you can see if they are coming from Messenger. So this is Facebook Messenger, or if they are coming from Instagram. The thing is, sometimes if someone mentioned to you and things like that, it will appear here as well. So it's not as clear sometimes that is just, you know, from here. This is more like notifications also for that platform. But if you go here, you see the messages. Okay, so we said, oh, this is great because the advisors can be here. So if young people text Instagram or Messenger, they don't need to be, you know, going to different platforms. They will be all here. But another thing we discovered that was like very interesting is, okay, you have here automated responses. So this is perfect because Mike doesn't work all day. It has like an opening time. What's happening here? My internet, I think. I'll see if it works. No. So you can send instant replies. We are not here. We are out of office. And it's so wicked, you can actually put the name of the person who contact. Can you see? Add customer names. I mean, they call it customer because it really is more for a shop, I suppose, or for a business. That's what it's like, Facebook business. You can send away messages. So we said, okay, we are not working on these hours, but we are Monday to Friday from 9 until 5. So you can see, and then it's like, hi, thanks for your message. We will respond to you as soon as we are back in the office. You can send frequently asked questions, and this is more like job applications and stuff. You can send appointment reminders, so maybe it's interesting for you. We don't do appointments or anything, but maybe some of the youth work may be interesting in this option. And you can say, hey, remember, there's an appointment, we are expecting you. Okay, and then another thing we discovered is, this was like in our exploration, is something that they call it like the chat plugin. And we were like, okay, what's this chat plugin? So the chat plugin lets you put this chat plug into a website or whatever you want. And it looks like this, chat with Promo Camry, because I'm using the Promo Camry account. An interesting bit is, if people go through Messenger or Instagram, with Instagram, you have already the message, so you can click there automatically. But for Facebook, they need to download the Facebook Messenger. So some people may not have it. But through here, you can continue as you, or actually do it as a guest. So people don't have to even have Facebook Messenger installed or anything in the phone. Let me know if it gets confusing, because maybe it gets a bit confusing. And I'm finishing, I promise. So we said, okay, let's put it here in the promo website, hiding, you know, because we are testing all this. So this is how it looks like. So you go to the contact page in promo and it pops this thing. And you can obviously use my account, Diana, or no, I want to be a guest. If you're a guest, the messengers comes from a guest. So it says like here, Facebook user. Hi guest, thanks for contacting us. So, you know, because for Mike, we had the problem of confidentiality and I can say that word, anonymity. So we say, okay, if someone wants anonymity, can use maybe the guest function. So this is all what we discovered. So I'll stop sharing. So we said, okay, instead of try WhatsApp, because you need a phone, let's try this system. Let's see how we see, because it seems quite easy, right? So we sent advert, and we said, okay, Mike is gonna attend, you know, or answer questions from, it was on Sunday, and we gave 2 slots on Sunday. And that's how far we went, because nobody has contacted Mike. And this was this Sunday. So from here, obviously I need to meet with the team to see really exactly what happened. Did they see the message? Maybe the advert didn't really reach people. Maybe we need to give it another try and another time. Maybe Sunday wasn't the best day. So that's how far we went. But very interesting. Any questions?
Yes. Interesting indeed, yes. Okay, there is actually Ruardi is coming and joining us. All right, but do you have, Bettina, you want to ask Diana something?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for sharing. I didn't know that there was a message functionality without having to have a Facebook account. That's really cool. You also said anonymity, or like, is it a safe version concerning data protection? to use? Is it like we currently have issues using WhatsApp because it's said to be not safe, like I think it's data protection, the English word. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I think we review all these things, and I don't think there was an issue because obviously you can, so there is encryptation, right, with WhatsApp. So in theory, nobody can access to that chat unless it's required. So what Facebook says, because obviously all this is owned by Facebook, it says that there is a link. I can show you the link. I can put it here. We have it somewhere. If someone is in danger, the police and those services are the only ones who can request to access to this information. So even if you want to try to access, they won't give you. They say they only accept requests from authorities, and they will need to see how value is that to show the things and stuff like that. So in theory, there is security. You know, everything is encrypted, and nobody can have access to it unless there is really, and they will review every case.
Okay.
So it needs to be, you know, not because the police is asking, they are gonna give the details from the police. That's why we found about it. So actually, oh, sorry,
the meetings on Sunday, the 2 slots you had were kind of like info events or some kind of input from your side, or just contact us if you have a problem, a question, just regular
yeah,
outline usually does. Okay.
Yeah, it was just that. It's like I can show you actually the advert if you want. So it's like chat. I'll show you. This is like the, I'm not sure you can see it. I'll make it bigger. So that was the advert. Need to talk, click below to chat now. Chat is available in English only as we are testing Instagram DMs. And that was for the Instagram. Normally they are like stories, like the adverts in Instagram. So once they saw that as the story, they could click. But obviously maybe they didn't need it to talk about anything in that moment. So, you know, it can be a lot of reasons. And actually we tested this on Sunday because it's the quietest period for the helpline. So maybe that wasn't the best day. So anyway, I think we need to kind of, you know, think about what happened and test it again.
Great, good to hear that. And it's also interesting, Diana, to see how this project is developing, because I got to know it already through your colleagues during the previous course when we were piloting this design course. So it was Andrew and can't remember the names of your other colleagues who were working with it, but it's great to see that it's developing further and that you have found new kind of ways to tackle this this challenge that you have had with your chat. And I think it is going towards solution, some kind of solution, or at least you can try if this could be the answer to your challenges that you have had.
Yeah, I found it really interesting because, I mean, you're both from Promo Cymru, so you're my colleagues. I know you very well, and you know we are. You know, we're very much leaders in this area in terms of digital. You know, that is really what we do. But I think what's so interesting for me is that sometimes we still don't take the time to reflect on a service, you know. So we delivered the Mike helpline a long time ago, and we haven't spent that dedicated time to really say, actually, how could we make this better? And I think through doing this course, the fact that you and Tanya and colleagues previously have actually, you know, discovered that there are many things that actually are inaccessible when you look at them, or could be improved, you know. So they were good because at least we had a chat function, but actually when you looked at it, you realized that could be a lot better. And I just think it's really great to show that with digital, it's a constant, in fact, that's the week we're in, isn't it? Continual improvement. You know, a service doesn't stop. Many people still believe, and this is very hard in organizations because it could be your managers or your funders, you know, they believe that they fund a website and that's it, or an app, or we'll build an app. But we know that that's only the beginning of the journey, and you need to keep investing, keep learning, keep changing, keep adapting forever. You know, Facebook is not how it was when it started. And I know our services are not like Facebook, but it's good for us to recognize, to make something work is constantly evolving, isn't it? So yeah, I just think that was really interesting watching you and Tanya learn so many new things about our services.
And I think for me, like I mentioned it today in one of the meetings, I think for me the most important is, you know, have a team that is not afraid of learning and trial things, because, you know, people don't tend to get out of the comfort zone because it's like a lot of unknowns, you know. It's like, what if? But it's like, yeah, but only innovation really happens when you step out of your comfort zone, you know. And that was great, you know, to have advisors be able to say, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna try to message in Facebook, you know. For me, it was like, wow, they were saying yes, and I was like, wow, I was really impressed. But obviously, they were the more tech savvy. Not everybody could have done this trial, you know what I mean? So you need to also don't affect everybody when it's not needed, because there's no point to hassle someone and say, okay, you need to change when you still don't know if that's the way you want to go, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was a very good point, which you said, that to also to develop things, so you need people and staff around who are ready to do it. And because it always you need time for it, and you need also to be patient, I would say. You need to be ready to do rounds of testing and trying to find the right solutions, or good solutions, or kind of solutions which would fit for your service users. So that's very important to have. And also I would say I've been involved in a chatbot project for last year, and now during the last month we have done the biggest steps, and we are getting close to launching the service. And it demanded a lot of commitment from all from my colleagues to work with it. And well, we have experienced moments when it was not, we have not been so lucky. And so yeah, you need colleagues and commitment and people to be ready to do that work. And that's great that you, as I said, so this was already a service design project in the previous training. Now you are continuing, and it looks like that that you are getting closer and closer to find a solution. Great. Yeah, what about Ruaid? Sorry, it's a bit complicated for me to pronounce your name, but is there something that you, or would you like to present your service design project and how far you have got until today?
Yeah, I can do that. I haven't prepared anything, but it's a piece of work that I've got. It's live, and it's been live for a wee while, so I decided to focus on a survey, which I was going to be running anyway, a useful bit of information for me, but for the whole sector as well, really. So looking at how young Gaelic speakers, or in fact how young people in Scotland, period, want to engage with Gaelic online. So whether that's seeing stuff and learning a bit more about language if they don't speak it, or if it's Gaelic speakers who want to actually use the language. So we ran a similar survey last year, and it did pretty well, but there was definitely, when it came to analysis, a lot of work that clearly needed done for helping young people understand the information we wanted, really. Like, it's easy to say, oh, they didn't answer the question we asked, but actually really, especially coming through this, I realised that a lot of that is down to the way that we frame it and making sure that we focus on how that can work for them. I can show you it, actually, if you want. I don't know if that'd be useful. So give me 2 seconds, I'll just open it up. So here we go. So I'll share my second screen. So you'll see that, okay. That's fine. So here's the page that I created for it on our kind of Gaelic landing page. Just kept it nice and simple. Just saying we wanted their thoughts, and kind of we decided to incentivise it as well. So there are 3 £50 vouchers up for grabs that will be randomly selected from people who take part in the survey. We have a good advantage for that we have a reward system for our members, so they can get points for taking part in different things, so like answering surveys or whatever, and they do that through codes. So at the end of the survey, there's a code on the final page that they can then use to claim points. But if they claim that code, we can also automatically put them in to a prize draw for these vouchers. So we thought that was quite a good one for trying to incentivize young people to get involved as well. But really, I just kind of focused a lot of my work was on wording and taking answers and things. One thing I did struggle with is we don't have a group of young Gaelic speakers that we work with. So reaching out to young people directly for a prototype or anything was really difficult. But I had the advantage of we'd ran a similar survey last year, and while it wasn't perfect, there was a lot of really good information I could take from that in terms of the kind of content they wanted to see, the themes and topics that interested them, and maybe, you know, and a lot of other stuff that I could take. So this is showing in Gaelic actually, so I can change it to English. And that was a big part of it, even was the layout. So decided to really simplify things. Before I had the Gaelic and English showing up because we didn't have the ability to add the button at the top that has the Gaelic and English. You can choose what to view it through. So that was a big breakthrough for making it a lot easier for young people. It doesn't look nearly as horrible. But a lot of it was deciding to change language, was all the big things. So things like, instead of asking young people, how do you want to engage with Gaelic? It was asking them, how do you want to see and use it? And that was a way that they, you know, they would never use the word engage for anything. That is something that we obviously use a lot at work, but it's meaningless to young people. So just kind of making sure that I had all these languages sorted and I can continue to do it, which is nice and easy. I'll just announce their permissions. I'll need to make sure to take this answer out. But this is kind of where it gets quite interesting. So again, to make sure that young people aren't answering questions they shouldn't be, and to try and make it as easy for them and as relevant to them as possible, based on this answer, you'll then get a whole different set of questions for each group, essentially. So for non-speakers, so there are people who have no knowledge of Gaelic, really don't speak anything at all. So that their questions then focus a lot more on how they would like to engage, or what would engage them with the language, or if they don't want to engage with it, why don't they want to engage with it? Kind of try and see what are some of the stigmas that we maybe need to battle and tackle. Whereas learners, it focuses a lot more on why do you learn, what would help you learn, and the kind of content and information that would help them there. And then fluent speakers, we actually focus a lot more on how do they want to use Gaelic Online. So is that for social interactions, or for if they were finding information, how would they like to do that? So it kind of depends. So it kind of, depending on the answer here, you get a very different path through it. So if I was to go for, I'll go for a beginner learner now, just as an example, but I can take you through. So it was little things like just making sure the questions are all nice and simple, like what made you want to learn Gaelic, and you can tick all that applied. So a lot of these answers were taken straight from the responses to a similar question last year, where we had it as an open text box for a lot of things, which actually I think dragged the survey out for a lot of young people because having to type a lot. And it is a lot of standard answers that we were getting, but through the whole length of the survey, that was just prolonging the whole thing, stretching it out and making it quite tiresome. So a lot of it we've just decided to simplify down into tick boxes that yes, there is another write-in that they can add to, but there should be no one feeling like they aren't represented in their answers because they can add it, but without forcing young people to constantly be typing through. And that's just kind of how we changed the whole thing. And that runs through, again, which resources have helped you the most rather than leaving that open blank. We've just taken the examples that were most common in the last survey and given those listed those resources, as well as a couple that we expected separately. So Speak Gaelic, that's down here, that is a new resource. It's only launched this year, but it's one that's been very popular as far as I can gather, and there's been a lot of funding behind it. So adding things like that just to make sure that we're showing what we can. And yeah, that's kind of really, that is the primary thing with how we've approached the, I'm just not going to want to let me without, I can do whatever. And through the whole thing, it just kind of keeps going that way, keeping it nice and simple, using logic. So again, with this one, these are the only two questions that show up. If I say that I use Gaelic every day, then you get a whole lot of questions that are based off that, because again, it's pointless asking questions about how they use Gaelic Online if the answer to this is I don't see or use Gaelic Online, then it is pointless asking them anything other than would you like to see more. So it's again just minimizing the length of time that young people are having to be involved in this, minimizing the number of questions they have to answer that aren't relevant to them, and trying to make it as smooth as possible. And other than that, I really focused on content as well, so I can probably find examples of that actually in Canva somewhere. So just kind of made to make the content as engaging as possible, again as simple as possible. Before last year I think I made the mistake of having too much information on it and just too text heavy, and people aren't necessarily always going to want to read that. Just get the key points across and let them make their own mind up. So just nice clear heading, although it's taking a second to load in, and small bit of information in Gaelic and English. Literally just needs a paragraph is all that needs to try and draw folk in. And then on the last page it's just here's where you go to it, head up to the link in the bio. And every bit of content has a direct link except the Instagram post where you can't link, but we've got the link at the very top of our bio, or of the links tree in our bio. So it should be the first link that they come across if they go onto it, to make it, again, try and keep it as accessible as possible. I also made a Snapchat story, and that had a direct swipe up, so you don't even have to click out of the app at all. You just swipe up and you're taken straight to the survey. And I have an Instagram story, you can add the link in as a sticker, so I did the same thing there. Just again, trying to think about accessibility, making it as easy and as painless as possible. So young people aren't having to try and remember where to find it themselves. And yeah, when I checked yesterday, I had, I can stop sharing that now, but when I checked yesterday, we had 31 responses, I think, already, 10 of which were partial though, which is a bit annoying. I don't know whether that'll be people that will go back to them or whether that is where people are dropping off. But then, because again, there wasn't a lot of time for a prototype because of when we wanted to launch it on St Andrew's Day, just because a day you can get a lot of noise around things like Scottish Gaelic because it's the patron saint of Scotland. That then luckily the survey has a 3-month runtime, so I want to review those partial answers, see if there are any themes or trends within where they've stopped and why they've stopped, and see if there's something that we can change in the questions to make that easier, and treat that essentially as a prototype, because it's a 3-month survey runtime, so there's time to do that and make those changes. Yeah, that's about it.
Thanks a lot. Looks and sounds very interesting project. For with the young people you're working with, and from their point of view. Do you have anything that you the others who are online so would like to ask about this project, or any? Is there this far, have you faced any surprises in your process?
I think big one was, again, the wording, because again I'd gone through it before, so I designed the survey last year as well, and I'd worded it in a way that made perfect sense to us. Again, it was all language like engage with, or there maybe be 2 questions in one. If there was, like, you give an answer and then there's a text box to explain your answer, instead of asking that now, that would be 2 questions. So that would be pick your answer, and then based on that you get asked to explain your answer. And it's just little things that make it. It was amazing to me when I was able to look at it and strip it down to thinking purely about how to make it the easiest thing for young people, as opposed to just the easiest thing to make, if that makes sense. That the amount that could be changed, the amount that rested on with me, basically, as opposed to necessarily with, oh, but they've not answered the question, they've not read the question properly, or whatever. That's actually my responsibility to make sure that it's there to be read properly, and not relying on young people to take that upon themselves, because that's, I mean, no one does. If you're tired at 8 o'clock at night scrolling social media, you're not thinking, oh, I better make sure that I've properly read this survey question. That's not reasonable. So yeah, I was quite surprised seeing how much I could change within what I thought I had done quite well last year. I was proud as punch when I published the survey, but yeah, the amount of change that I was capable of making was pretty cool.
I think it's good that you're building on something, though. Again, it's that continuous improvement, because actually last year it probably was a good survey, but it's the first time you've done it, and then you learn. I really like what you've done around like all the different categories people can just tick, because we sometimes play with this, that you want sometimes like a fuller answer so people can really explain things, but then for them that takes ages. And also you find that when you're then looking through the results, they're quite hard to actually compare the data, aren't they? Because
nightmarish.
Yeah, so I just think that's really great how you've managed to break it down to so many things. I'll be really interested to see, like, if, when you launch this, whether you get more feedback and young people find that much easier. I imagine they're going to.
Yeah, hopefully. I think the key to that will be is how many people use the other write-in boxes, because I'm hoping that'll be way fewer than last time. Because even a lot of the questions that are tick boxes now were tick boxes before, but maybe have 4 or 5 options, and then you'd have every other person that answered the survey was writing something in, and then you have to interpret that and analyze it. And it was so not only is it easier for them, it's way easier for us as well if the options are all just there as tick boxes. So hopefully, my hope there is that hardly any of the write-in boxes are used, which means I've covered everything, but we'll see. At the same time, it is always good to get specific answers outside of what you already expect. So whatever comes will come.
Great, thanks for presenting for your projects, and all you who presented your work this far. And as I said earlier, so it's been a very interesting to hear, and also to follow all different processes that you all have had. Summary from the course, actually, just like I looked just a while before we started the webinar, so most of you have already, or you are already starting the discussions and the activities from the last week. So there are only a couple of persons who have still a couple of activities that are not completed from the previous weeks. So it's been really amazing to see also how well you all could keep the pace, and how eager and full of energy you had all to complete the activities. We thought to have a kind of a small activity here to finish the webinar, and I will share you my screen. Just a second. So I will. Okay, I will take it from here, and yeah, you should see a Mentimeter page. Can you see it? Yeah. So if you can open a new tab or fill it, for example, with the mobile phone, but if you go to menti.com, and then you can see the code on the top of the page, and there is one question, and we are asking, like, what is the main thing you are going to take into your work from this e-learning course? If you want to write 2 things, so that's also okay. Or if you want to write 3 things, so please go ahead. But we would like to hear or see what kind of things you are going to take into your work. There is already a first one, but let's wait. We need to find a way also so that to collect this information from the others who are not online now. But I think we can do it, for example, with the Jamboard or something like that. So that. Yeah, this far, all who have submitted, so it's actually about the same thing. I would say that to keep the young people at the center, and how important it is to collaborate with young people when you are providing services to young people, and the users need. Those are the only things that matters. And yeah, and the research and trial and iteration process, so that is absolutely very, very important when we talk about service design, and when we want to create something new, or when we want to develop something, or if we want to find solutions to our problems that we notice. What kind of thoughts do you have, Ariel, at the moment?
I'm very pleased to, read how, like you said, how similar all these are. And it really is going back to the main principle of service design, is that it's person-centered. So when when you go on from this course, you might actually start hearing about service design come up in many different ways. So some people call it human-centered design. Some people call it design thinking. It also crosses over with agile. There's some crossovers there. So yeah, but that person-centered bit is like really, really crucial. That is what I think is the fundamental principle to all of these different design processes that you might hear about. They very much still have the same principles, even though they might be called something different.
Yes, that's true. And also, I think you might have heard also about lean management, which is kind of you could call it also as a kind of service design in one certain way, but that's also a methodology where everything is based on that you are listening, and you are looking at for example, a process, how you work with I could, for example, Diana, when you were presenting your chat thing, so that could be a very good example how it could be leaned, or how it could be tackled through the lean management. And there is always like listening the users and thinking together with those who are working with the services. So to listen them and to see, not only tell people, all the workers, that this is how we do and then take care of it, but also to involve the staff to develop and see and what kind of processes we have built into our services, and if there are some things that could be done in a different way, so that the people, the users, those who are working with those services are always in a key position. Great. From my point of view, so we have used, I thought that when we started that we will be much quicker than 1.5 hours, but it was so interesting to hear all about your projects and your thoughts and discussions and questions. So suddenly we have spent 1.5 hours here with this topic again. But I want to thank you all. It was great that you could join the webinar. I think that when those who could not be online at this time, so they would have had also really good chance or possibility to present their projects, but we can read about them on the e-learning platform. But Imre, Ariel, are there some things that you would like to say before we finish?
Not really, just a huge thank you. It's been so great, and let's stay in touch, because it's been it's been really great working alongside you all throughout this course. So thank you for keeping pace and keeping learning and sharing all this today. So thanks.
And kind of congratulations from me. We are almost at the end of the course. So congrats for getting this far. And I'm sure that now you will have no problem with completing the rest that separates you from your certificate. Of course, the aim is not the certificate, but that you will have the capacity to use the service design methodology in designing new services and revising existing ones. So I wish you good luck with that, and also maybe for the very end of the course. Thank you.
Yes, Imre mentioned already the certificates. So there are this week a couple of activities, and after you have completed those, so Ariel and me, we will send message to ERYICA Secretariat that they can start to produce or to send the certificates to you. And yeah, we'll see still online this week, and we really look forward to have the feedback on in different formats. As you might remember, so this is the first time when we had this course as an ERYICA course. So we are of course very much interested in to receive feedback and to develop also this course in future. We had a pilot training before this, but this is the first time when we had a training with participants from ERYICA network and we are from the member organizations. So as said, so the feedback is very important thing to receive. And yeah, I wish you all fruitful and nice week, and we are quite close to Christmas, so I think it's never too early to say Merry Christmas and also Happy New Year. That comes quite soon as well. So take care and stay healthy and safe.
I have a question, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a date for the next training? I want to send people on the next training.
Speaking for the ERYICA Secretariat, we do not have dates for the next design training, but we do have plans for next trainings. So every year we organize 2 e-learning courses, and if the conditions will allow, we'll also organize 1 or 2 face-to-face training courses, like international ones from the ERYICA Secretariat, but any member of ERYICA can organize also design course at any time.
Oh, great.
You can also collaborate with other organizations if you would like to do it together with someone, or you are also free to initiate one just for your network.
Oh, that's great to know. Thank you. I would love to have done a face-to-face internationally. Not online. I would love to go to Finland or somewhere else, Malta, I don't know, Scotland even.
Yeah, I have to tell you that last week on Thursday and Friday, I was on first mission to abroad, and I think it's almost 2 years ago when I was abroad so it was great to visit Council of Europe Youth Center in Strasbourg and to have a meeting with the group which I have been working quite a long time now, only online. So it felt really good. So I'm really looking forward to get back to a situation where we could have also ERYICA trainings in a face-to-face setting. I think the last meeting where I attended was almost 2 years ago in Wales, in Cardiff, when we had, actually it was the design project meeting. And after I got home, so in a couple of days, everything was closed down, so all locked down. Okay, thanks a lot. Take care, and the recording will be available on the platform latest tomorrow, and we'll communicate there, and you will for sure still get feedback and messages also to your previous posts on different activities. So stay online still. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye
Lovely to meet
bye.
you. Bye.